Hi everyone, it's been a really long day. Congratulations for making it this far in Singapore Stories 2022. Unfortunately, there can only be 5 finalists moving on to the grand prize of being Singapore's next big designer. And the 5 finalists are Felicia Park, Jamila Law, Hu Ruisian, Claudia Poe, Kavita Tulasidas.
So I've been working on the collection, and particularly the silhouettes has been my main focus. We are very keen on working on separates. We are creating vents, particularly at the front of the garment, because we've noticed that when we're seated down, actually a lot of fabric bunches. So we found like a very exciting and fashionable way to relieve all that excess fabric and tension here.
I think a key strength of your collection has always been the functionality of it, and working with your muse, Ping Xiu, on the kind of garments that would work for her in her life. I think the next step of your journey is definitely thinking about the materiality of these garments, what fabrics, what colors, what patterns, so that beyond its function, it is an aspirational, fashionable collection for people to wear, both functionally as well as decoratively. Claudia's collection has such a strong concept and such a great social outlook. It serves her clientele so well. The question for Claudia is, how is she going to put herself back into the collection? What about her capsule speaks to her as a designer, as a person?
Good morning.
So what have you been working on?
So I've been based on the comments from the judges, right? I've been looking at haute couture techniques to bring my 2D details to 3D in real life. So yeah, I've been looking at Valentino, and even like Victor and Rolf, and just looking at all these like 3D manipulations that I can possibly do.
I think that it's important to remember that you have to create the shape of the garment. To think about the dress underneath, so that it's not just applique on a very boring dress.
Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe I can combine maybe like applique with a bit of the print, especially because I want like specific colors.
Yeah.
The other comment that I got was that I needed to be more consistent with my silhouette.
Not to say the judges are wrong, but of course take it with a pinch of salt and think carefully about what that means, because you also don't want 6
Everything
dresses
to look the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think consistency in silhouette might have to do with who this woman is or what that woman's elevation level is, right? Because ultimately you can be one person, but your voice is encompassed in the clothing, and a consistency of voice is how you treat this person that's dressing your clothing.
So Felicia is clearly a very young, energetic designer. She's got great ideas and a great eye for color and pattern. Her main challenge is going to be to find ways to make her dreams come true, to make the 2D renderings as lively, as vibrant, as energetic in 3D.
So I have been designing a bag. It will be interactive, consisting of 6 to 8 layers of laser cut. So once you put them together, it will form an interesting offset, and you can actually use your finger to interact with it, and it can move.
And this was inspiration that you got from Dominic at the Heritage
Dominic shared with
Conservation
me
Centre.
this motif, and I think it's so poetic. It draws parallel to the astrolabe that I was inspired by.
The movement of the world, the movement of the stars and the skies.
Yes.
I guess the big question for me, because obviously you are very good at creating 3D intricate shapes, the question for me is the garments.
Jamila is such an interesting designer. It's incredible the way her mind works to envision things in 3 dimensions and to layer intricate details. To her, fashion is a mathematical equation. What I'm curious about is, will she be able to develop an apparel collection that speaks wearability?
So, we had so many comments, right? You said I should be cohesive. The judges talked about draping. Then they said you should also make something for like contemporize it, make it for that younger people, So there's so many inputs. I'm kind of like, my head is like going in so many different directions right now.
Correct. Yeah, it can be quite difficult, and I don't blame you. It's a very difficult thing to do. I think that one thing that will really help is the idea of who is this woman that embodies your collection. what age is she, what does she do, what's her personality, you know, pick a star, pick an actor, pick yourself, pick your daughter. Who is the woman that is wearing this collection? And then all the decisions on silhouette, on decoration, on the shapes will become more clear to you when you have this central driver.
Yeah. Okay.
You can,
Something
you
to
see the
think about.
editing comes so naturally once you know who it
Who
is.
I'm designing for.
And
right?
and you know, sometimes what I do when I design a show, a modern show, is I pick a star, a muse, like a person you want to dress.
Yes.
Kavita has had a storied career in fashion. She knows this industry inside out, and she knows clothes making. Her challenge in this competition is being pulled in different directions by all the comments and inputs. Sometimes, too much knowledge and too much experience can end up being a burden.
Okay, so I drew a new dress. I mean, I was very confused after the semi judging.
Everyone is.
Yeah, like, oh, take away this, take away that, like, it's too much. But at the same time, I'm staying like true to myself, right? So I'm still I still want to do like voluminous silhouettes. So
Yes.
this is a new dress that I kind of draw.
Yes.
But I'm not really feeling it. So
Okay. I think what we learned from the HCC tour, which I thought was fascinating for you in particular with bridal wear, is that every artifact that we saw, a lot of artifacts were related to marriage.
Yeah.
Marital bliss, Mandarin ducks, it can be incorporated in your collection. So the idea of having Yuan Yuan Man Man in a dress incorporated into the concept of a dress is actually very in line with a lot of how Asian heritage is. But the concern is not putting a circle directly on the dress and saying Yuan Yuan Man Man. Like, how do you abstract it? Is it curvature? How do you make it fashion? How do you make it contemporary and modern that a modern bride want to wear? What is this contemporary interpretation of a traditional well-wish that you try to put into your garment?
Rui Xian is an established business owner and fashion designer. She's really built her base of clientele here in Singapore. It will be interesting to see if she engages with the symbols of marital bliss that we encountered in the vaults at HCC. Another thing that Rui Xian is going to have to do is to look at the sophistication of her fabric choices, because they're going to have to pass the discerning eyes of our judges.